You see me on YouTube?
I'm looking for it now. There we go.
Yeah. So if you're watching anything, like,
But now,
just make sure the volume is down. Like how you hear my
yeah, I
double
got it
now.
muted.
Yeah. What's up, DMG? How you feeling, bro? All right. Put this mic to the side. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? You are in the place to be. If you hear like a double audio, let me know.
Yeah, definitely, please.
This is Day Sun Civil of Sun Civil Media, and I have a special guest in the house. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. We have a very special guest in the house. This is an educator. This is a music producer. This is a person who loves to help people, a person that doesn't brag about himself, but has a lot of accolades, a lot of things to tell us. And we're coming in here because we want to get the scoop. We are giving him the room and the platform to brag. You know what I mean? So that's why we're here today, and we have none other than the homie, GhettoStyles. Let's give GhettoStyles a
I
round
appreciate that.
of applause, everybody.
Definitely appreciate that.
Yes. All right, so we want to take it from the top. Let me get this music going down right here. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on to the show. I want to thank you
Definitely,
for
no problem.
giving us an opportunity to talk about you. You know, people see you all over the internet. We've seen you from teaching a lot of Akai videos, how to get into the software as well as the hardware. You know, things
Hmm.
like maximizing our studio, and different things about equipment. We've also heard a lot about what drove you into this as well, what brought you to this, and a lot of things we want to say. I want to thank you for allowing, this may be hard to say. Thank you for allowing your circumstances and your situation and your pain to be such a shining light to us, and
Yeah,
you going through your situation that also was a blessing to us at the same time. So we just want to thank you for all the things. When I heard your story, I was like, I gotta reach out to my man because I really appreciate that. So, what we want to do, we don't want to start off on no somber note because this is a celebration, celebratory moment.
right, right.
Right. So here's what we want to do. We want to first ask you our first question. How did you get into music, and what are your early beginnings when it comes to music?
The early beginnings. It started out in uh like early life, like grade school. I always wanted to play instruments and things like that. Wanted to be in band. Um, and I've told this story before, but my mom used to every Saturday, she would wake us up, crack of dawn, make us clean the house. Now, while we cleaning the house, she would always play Kenny G albums, and that was our theme music for cleaning. If you woke up and you heard Kenny G on, you knew what was about to happen. And I grew a love for that saxophone sound, so I wanted to play the saxophone. And early in grade school, once you start learning how to play instruments, I picked up the saxophone. I still got one, and I hold on. Yeah, so I actually still got one, and I started playing the saxophone all through grade school, all through high school, and all of that. That was like the actual beginnings of me getting into music. I played it on a few of them, and then some of them is samples, but I have played it on a few. Yeah. Well, at first it was just like the classes, and then once I got into high school, then I got in band, and I was in band all through high school. Yeah, I was first chair saxophone, and there was a guy. I don't know if I ever told this story, but there was a guy who was second chair and was always trying to challenge me to beat me. Could never beat me, and then he decided he wanted to fight me because of that. That didn't end well for him either. He just kept losing all around the board.
What
Uh
about
oh.
now?
We
Say something
good?
now. Testing 1 2.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check.
Make sure I don't have nothing mute.
Yeah. Hopefully we loud and clear.
Yeah, we don't want this to be messed up. This is some good info right here.
Right. Right. Right.
Can anybody hear now? Hear both of us?
We both in there. Y'all got me. Y'all got me.
Okay, they say yeah, it's good. There we go.
Okay.
All right,
I
let's
might
take
need
it.
it. I might have to tell the story over again.
Yeah, let's take it from the top.
Uh. Well. Okay.
All right.
So.
So my question was, what got you into music, and what started, like your love for basically your love for music?
Okay, so like I said, basically just to rehash it, I started with playing instruments in grade school, um, and I kind of told a story before that. I kind of go back over it, but basically what I said was every Saturday when we were growing up, um, my mom would wake us up early in the morning to clean up, and she would always play Kenny G albums. So if you was asleep and you woke up and you heard the Kenny G albums, those saxophone albums, you knew what was about to go down. We was gonna be cleaning all day. But I grew a love for that saxophone sound. So whenever I got a chance to uh, learn how to play an instrument, I chose the saxophone, and I played the saxophone all through grade school. Ended up playing it in high school and in the high school band all the way through school. Um, so that's basically where my beginnings was with music and how I started.
Okay. Yeah, and then I said, I said I played in band as well. I played snare drum all the way up, and in concert band and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Hmm.
Especially where you learn your timing and your cadence. Um, I always wish I could play like a sax or something like that. The smooth guys play the sax.
Yeah, I feel like I wish now, like being in beat making and producing and stuff like that, I really wish I would have learned the piano instead of a
Yeah,
saxophone. But
yeah,
I'm gonna always have that love for that saxophone just
yeah,
because it's embedded in there.
yeah. One of my daughter's teacher, she teaches her piano. I help with some stuff, but when she
Hmm.
said to her, she's like, if you play the drums, you can play the piano because it's basically the same thing. She said it's a percussion instrument, and then when I look at the drum music, piano makes sense. So like when you
Hmm.
see like the 1 EN, 2 EN, stuff like that, and you can see how it all
Oh
plus.
yeah, counting bars and beats and reading the notes. That's
Yeah,
I got that, but
yeah.
my fingers ain't coordinated for them keys. I don't know. They just they
I'm
don't
t-
want to act right all the time.
but you know what I had to do because it didn't make any sense. I had to try to, if you teach the left hand, then teach the right hand, and then try to. That's when people say don't learn scales. That's not true. Go practice scales, like learn right hand
Hmm.
scales, left hand scales. Take your time with a metronome and try to put them together, and you'll figure it after a while. But as we get older, it's about time.
Yeah, it's
So
certain things that'll come to you as you just playing around with it. It's certain things that you would get, but
yeah,
like when you're talking about advanced stuff, like if somebody tell me E major seventh or stuff like that, it's
hmm,
almost like speaking French to me. And when it
yeah,
comes to a saxophone, saxophone is mono, so you can't really play chords unless you're playing arpeggiated chords with a saxophone, stuff like that.
So that's good info to know. I never, all those years, I never understood it like that, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so you got your musical chops playing saxophone. What led you to hip hop?
Um, that was like the first love, basically. Everything around was hip hop. Like we grew up in the projects when we was little. I mean,
Okay.
I seem like that's the same story for everybody, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Um, and like we would be out there, people would be out there, and from telling my age, they out there with the boom boxes on their shoulder. They got cardboard laid out, doing back spins on it, all of that, the whole nine, break dancing and stuff like that. And just seeing all of that stuff um, was basically the beginning of it. And then like as I got older, like once I was in grade school, or not grade school, I'm gonna say middle school, like sixth, seventh, eighth grade. That's when I started learning how to write my own raps and stuff, learning how to put together bars and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just the basic stuff, and it kind of just grew from there.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. So, like, so who are some of your early influences?
As far as hip hop,
Hip hop. It doesn't have to just be hip hop because we're around the same age. If you talk about, especially when you talk about Saturday morning, getting up to
yeah,
clean. For us it was Soul Train and watching other music, and that was the time. When your mother would leave and say, "This house better be clean by the time I get back."
oh,
So stuff
yeah,
like that. So,
yeah.
so what was your earlier influences? What's up, everybody?
Salute to the chat, by the way. Um, I've always been like a super hip hop head. Like just far back as I can remember, we would always watch like um, Yo MTV Raps faithfully, and I'm talking about way back. Yo MTV. That was the first time that we really got to like watch a lot of it, because before that you would have to wait till like 3 o'clock in the morning and hope don't nobody catch you up and watch videos. They would show it like way late in the morning prior to Yo MTV Raps coming out. Because before that they wouldn't really play hip hop at all, like on TV videos or nothing like that. So you would have to just wait for it. But Yo MTV Raps, Fab Five Freddy, like this is early. This is before Ed Lover and Big Boy, before all of that stuff. And we just would watch that faithfully, like no matter what. Everything would stop when that was on.
Mm.
Then a little bit later, Rap City came out. We would switch back and forth between them. So that played a major part. And then like um, the first rapper that I ever heard that I would call my favorite was probably LL Cool J.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Run DMC too, but not as much. LL
Yeah.
Cool J was like the one that I gravitated to, even though everybody kind of was saying he's soft and makes songs for the ladies. I had almost all of the LL Cool J tapes back in the day.
Yeah.
And then let me see, like Rakim.
Yes.
Um, I was in love with the Beastie Boys album,
Yep.
especially Paul Revere. That was
Yes.
like I used to play that like crazy. I played that till the tape broke. Um, and then MC Lyte was the first female rapper. She actually became like my favorite rapper for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite rap group early on was always Naughty by Nature,
Uh-oh.
up until Outkast came out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I can name like tons and tons of people that had an influence on me,
Yeah.
because that's just like what I was living back then. I feel like I done seen every stage of rap from the beginning all the way to now, and
Yeah.
I know where I was at exactly when certain points of time was happening, as far as what I was listening to, how I was feeling, all that type of stuff.
Exactly. 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 I think it was definitely was a major influence on us. I remember, and I remember as well when you couldn't. I mean, you didn't hear it on the radio. All you heard was R&B. But there was an
Hmm.
amalgamation of music because you heard rock, you heard You heard soul music, you heard gospel, you heard everything on the radio at that time. You know,
Right.
but
You would hear rap every blue moon unless you just
right.
had the tapes and stuff.
My sister would come from New Jersey. She would go visit our grandmother, come back, and she would have like videos from Ralph McDaniel's Music Box. She
Hmm.
would have the WBLS tapes, and she would bring all that back when she came from New
Yeah.
Jersey. And we just had an influx of
I
stuff
know,
going on.
like I always see like a lot of people, especially people from New York, talking about like video music box and stuff like that. We didn't even have that.
No,
Um, where I'm at, I'm in Ohio, but we didn't have video music box. All that we had, like Rap City was, or Yo MTV Raps, I mean, was our only source of hip hop for a long time before it started really getting on the radio and all of that stuff.
yeah,
So we was on it hardcore. Outside of like people, like the DJs would be playing it and stuff in the street, or they would be playing it in their boom boxes. Other than that, you didn't really hear it nowhere else.
we had to stay up late. You had to like the mix would come on
Yeah.
like around 12, like from 12 to
And
2.
not too long before the channel started getting gray and staticky.
Yeah. Oh,
The TV used to go off back then.
Florence, South Carolina. I lived in Sumter. You couldn't. Everything was staticky, and we would get like upper parts, the lower parts of North Carolina. I forgot the name of the area, but it would be so staticky it wouldn't make sense. But we would sit there because you wanted to hear the hip hop songs, just like Beast by Lonze said, top 40 Casey Kasem. You had Soul Train, American Bandstand. This is the
Right.
stuff we had down south. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
but those early influences were great, and they kind of like really shaped us
Right. All day long.
for what we wanted to do. So this led you into not just like making music. You were a rapper at some point. So
Yeah.
tell
I
us
mean, that's what I started out as. Like,
yeah. So tell us what got you into that. And what was your rap name the same, or did you have a different rap name at that time?
I had a few of them. My original rap name was Lajay. That was the first one I ever had.
Yeah.
And I got a street nickname. People used to call me Ghetto all the time. So they used to say I used to always do ghetto stuff. You ghetto. And everybody just started calling me that, and it kind of stuck. People still call me that now. I don't really get offended about it or nothing like that. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I kind of embraced it because it just is what it is,
Right.
But started probably like I said, 6th, 7th grade, started writing my first raps. And it was like kiddie stuff. And I've told this story before. My first rap was just about being on the bus going to school. I still remember a little bit of it, but not much of it. Probably like the first couple bars or something. But and then after that, like people would recognize me for rapping and stuff like that. And you make the circle. They always want you in the circle, rapping in the ciphers and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was kind of their early beginnings of it.
Right. Yeah, I know that's how most of us get started. We just have our favorite song. We start writing the lyrics down. From writing the lyrics, then it leads us into writing our own lyrics and things of that nature. So this leads up to you and Sean Love and the Midwest Mafia. You had the Midwest Mafia mixtapes. How did that come about?
That started in 7th grade initially. When we were little, we started moving around a lot. So we didn't just stay in the same place. Like most people, they move in 2 streets over, maybe the other side of town. When we moved to completely different states. So we moved to Indianapolis, there for a couple years, moved back. Then we moved to Detroit, stayed in Detroit for a few years, moved back. Then to South Carolina. Then we moved to Pensacola, Florida. And then from there, we was in Jacksonville. Then we went to Rome, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. And we was moving so much, I got tired of moving. And I came back to Ohio and stayed with my grandmother. My mom and then moved to Kansas City at that same period of time. When I came back to Ohio, I was kind of like the new kid, but not really like the new kid because I knew everybody still.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Love had moved around the same time to Ohio and we went to school together. He moved from Miami, Florida. So, we got close in school, was kicking it every day and all of that stuff. And then one day we was just talking and he said basically something to the extent that once I get out of school today, I got to go over to my Aunt Von's house. And I was like, what? I got an aunt named Von too. And he was like, word? I'm like, where she stay at? He like, she stay in the project. I'm like, my aunt stay in the projects. So then we discovered that we was cousins. So his dad is my dad's first cousin, but we didn't know. So long story short, I ended up going over his house. Once I got over there, we kicking it. He was already, like I had already been writing rhymes and stuff, but he was already recording songs. And what he was doing, he had two boom boxes and he was making beats with the boom boxes and then recording on them. And primitive, real primitive. But he would have a blank tape in one boom box to record on, and he would find a empty piece of a song that you can loop up maybe, and he would push play and play on one side, record on the other side, and then at the end of the loop, pause it. Then rewind the one, play it, pause it, and then record a song over that. And I think that like kind of honed our skills a little bit because he was making beats like that, but these beats would be jumping and skipping all over the place, but we would still rap on them. So we had to learn how to jump and skip with the beat and still stay on beat and all of that stuff. And we was doing that for a while and making copies of these tapes and passing them around through school. And that was the early beginnings of it. Once everybody started picking up on it, like people was just going around school playing our tapes and stuff like that, and more people hear about it, they wanted to join in with us. They wanted to rap, write songs, and record songs too. So we had our little clique, and we just started going from there.
That's cool. That and it's funny how sometimes we think we're the only ones that are doing this, and we realize that this is like common with most of us. If you had a radio and it had two tape decks in it, you were making pause button tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I always tell people, like me and my roommate, we used to battle each other. I would come in, next thing you know, he had a whole song dissing me, and I was like, so you got me. I said, okay, my turn. He would leave, go to class. I would make mine. Next thing you know, whole pause button album of us dissing each other. But we would take it was like we were DJing. We would take in clips of songs and just, oh, you this, you that, you that. Karis One would say this, Guru would say this from Gangstar, Run DMC would say this, So I realized it's a common trend. But the first time I ever heard it is when someone was talking about Q-Tip. And they were saying, oh, he started, like the first album they did was, a lot of it started from pause button tapes. And I'm like, oh, this is pause button tapes?
That was all our early stuff right there. And Sean was he got crazy good with it. And then a little later on that, because he was cutting hair, like the kids at school would come through, he cut their hair for $5 and save up money. And one day he went to the pawn shop and was in a pawn shop, and they had a Roland Boss DR5. And then he bought it. So that was the first like actual piece of equipment. And then a little Radio Shack keyboard and started making actual beats. And then we started rapping on that. We went and bought a little karaoke machine with the little microphone that came with it. So we was like, oh yeah, we about to upgrade our quality now. We ain't using the boom boxes. So we was recording in a little karaoke machine and making tapes like that.
Right.
Then after that, upgraded to a 4-track tape recorder. So we can actually make 4 tracks with the beat track and then 3 tracks to rhyme on. 1 track for his verse, 1 track for mine, and then 1 track for the ad libs where we both just screaming and and it just was a continual elevation. Went from the 4-track tape machine to an 8-track dot machine. He ended up getting a MPC 2500 and a Korg Triton, and like I said, we just kept building up. And then around that same time, I'm gonna say like when we were in like 9th, 10th grade, because we was doing all this in like 7th and 8th grade.
Wow.
By the time we got to 9th and 10th grade, like all of the cars and stuff were starting to not have tape players in. Is when CD players were starting to get prevalent in cars. And we wasn't the only rap group around here that was like putting out rap tapes and stuff like that. But when CDs came about and you can go buy a CD and nobody was on CDs, we wanted to be on CDs like the industry folks. So we was this is when the Musician's Friends magazine was out and stuff like that. We would get them when we saw that it was a CD burner. It was like the size of an old VHS player, big, bulky. It cost like $4,000. So we started hustling, grinding, stacking up money, and that's what we wanted, because we wanted to have what they had. So we went and bought this CD burner, and then we started taking our songs, and we would still record them on a DAT machine and copy it to the CDs. And we started pressing up our own CDs, and then we met a guy that had a printer to actually print the CDs, so that I have covers on it to look like the same stuff that you bought in the store. And then we made our own jewel cases. We started copying CDs, and after that, it was a whole different level. Yeah. Because I remember when our first bundle of CDs, because I ain't gonna say I was bad, but I was in the streets a lot. I knew all the drug dealers, all of them. You know, and I'm 14, 15, but I knew like all of the drug dealers on the block, and they would always be at the park hanging out and stuff like that. So one day I go up to them with all our CDs and was like, hey, buy one of my CDs. And you know what I'm saying? They didn't want to mess with it. I'm like, well, then if you don't want to buy it, just play it. So I got one of them to put it in the car and play it. You know, this is when everybody had box Chevys, Caprices, Monte Carlo, stuff like that. 415s in the trunk. They riding on 15-inch wire spokes, 16s, 20s, stuff like that. I got one of them to put it in the car and play it. The car had 415s on it, like the kind of car that you hear from 6 blocks down the street. And as soon as it came on, the first song, it's on. It's on. And when they heard that and the beat came in pounding like crazy, all of them was like, that's y'all? Y'all made that? And then like all of the dope boys that was out there started buying all these CDs I had. And then from that point on, they was riding around the city constantly playing our music in all of their cars. So now everybody hearing them playing our music, and then everybody like, where y'all get that from? And they're like, oh, the little homie. So then after that, we couldn't keep the CDs. As fast as we can print them, they was getting sold.
Wow. Yo, that's cool. That's cool.
Let's give
a shout out
the first
to
Midwest Mafia album.
That's good, man. That's good. Right out the trunk.
Yeah. Well, out of backpack, because I ain't have a trunk. I was on a bike.
Let's give a shout out to Sim City, Big World Media, Gary Smith. We got Flight School up in here. We got my wife, Renee, one of my biggest supporters. We got Joe Fire up in here. We got Beats by Lonze. We got Michael 167894. We got Linda's son. We got I said Beats by Lonze. We got let's see who else we got up in here. We got Butch Cannon. We got DMG. Thank y'all everybody for coming in.
A salute to everybody coming through. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all so much. We truly appreciate that. So we're talking about the beginnings of GhettoStyles, how you got into music, starting off with a saxophone band. Basically, you're learning rhythm. And then after that, you got the love of hip hop, moved around to different places. What part of South Carolina did you go to?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Ah, Charleston, the Geechee area.
Yeah.
So then originally from Ohio, and then you meet your cousin, not realizing he's your cousin, and y'all just start making music together. Um,
Right.
and then everything starts picking up. You're selling things. You went from pause button tapes to getting equipment to now you're making songs and you're selling it to the people and they're loving it. So what comes
Mm-hmm.
after that?
Um, it seemed like a lot of notoriety in the city once everybody was riding around playing on music. A lot more people wanted to uh like get with us to make music. So we actually started recording other people. Um we ended up going to get a little computer, started like we got Cubase, and it was what is a Sound Blaster X5 audio card that we started out with. It only cost us like $200, but it was the dopest thing that we thought that was the ish when we had that,
Mm-hmm.
and we started, like I said, recording other artists. Everybody would come through. Our circle kind of started getting bigger. Um, and we thought we had a chance to be like super big. The only issue that we really had is we didn't at the time we didn't know how to get outside of our locality. You know what I mean? Like back then, if you needed a record deal or something like that, you had to either go to New York or California, and that was like light years away for us. So we just didn't know how to get over that hump.
Cool. And I think that was a challenge that a lot of us had. Like we were, you know, I ain't gonna, let me just brag. I wasn't doggone good at this. I was gonna try to be modest. No, I was good. I was the man. But
Right.
trying to find out how to get to certain areas to meet the right people, sometimes you're at a loss. You know.
Yeah. Like now you can just put songs out and it's all over the world. Everybody can hear it. Back then that wasn't. It was the people around you, or you might be able to get to the radio. Like we did get some songs on the radio back then, but even like the radio only got a certain amount of reach. Like we didn't have like the concept to be able to go to New York, walk into, I don't know, Universal Music or something like that, and try to work out a record deal or nothing like that. We didn't have a clue as how to do that, or nobody to help us do that, because we were doing all of this stuff completely on our own, not knowing nothing.
Right. I know that is how it is. But in hindsight, the things that you learn or the things that you go through really helped you, especially as technology starts advancing. Look, y'all was
Mm-hmm.
MPC 2500, getting a computer, and the things that you learning from then helped you progress to where you are now. With that being said, what what kind of led the shift into like the computer based production and things of that nature?
Just trying to be more efficient, trying to find. Actually, the real answer is probably trying to upgrade the sound quality, because with us recording on tapes and stuff, the thing that we used to always fight, and I remember this like it was yesterday, is that tape hiss. So like
Yeah.
when we was recording the with the boom boxes and stuff, you would always have that
Mm-hmm.
loud tape hiss in the background. And it got to the point where we knew that if we wanted the best quality audio and the least amount of tape hits, we had to try to one take every verse on all of these songs. Because if you had to overdub it, it was gonna add more tape hits to it. When we went to the 4 track, that dropped down the tape hits even more. Went to
Mm-hmm.
the DAT machine still had some noise in the background. When we went to the computer, that noise was almost completely gone. But
Mm-hmm.
that was probably what led that evolution, is trying to get rid of that background noise and that tape hits.
Right. Gary Smith's from New York, and he said a lot of people still didn't know how to get a label meeting, even though they lived in New York. Which we found out a lot of that.
Yeah, like
We
in hindsight, like, but
Yeah.
back, like when we was coming up, that felt like that's the only way possible to get a record deal, is if you went to New York
Right.
or California. It wasn't like it still ain't no record labels around here unless they, small local record labels.
Right.
But it seemed like that's where they all were.
Right. Right. I know what you mean. I had in terms of the sound quality, I had I had the tape decks, recording on crazy equipment. I think the best time I really had it was in college when I was recording in the radio station. And then I went from that to a 4-track recorder, the little Fostex 4-track recorder. Still didn't know what I was doing. And then computers came along. So at this time, does this lead into beat the block up music and entertainment?
That was probably a little while after that. But because like with Midwest Mafia, we did, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 mixtape albums that we had put out over the years. And I don't even I wish I still had some of them, but most of them, because we didn't think to keep none for ourselves, but we were just selling them to everybody. So we never kept like a copy. We got a copy. Somebody want it. Here you go.
Right.
And now in hindsight, I wish we should have kept some back so that we could still have some for ourselves. Got a couple songs here and there, but like none of the full albums. Most of those are long gone, unless somebody find one and say, "Hey, look what I found, man! I found this in my garage, or I found this under my couch or something." But the CD would be so scratched up, it won't play. But just to be able to see it and know that we did all that.
But the cool thing about it is it gave you local notoriety, and at the same time,
to this day, people still talk about it.
And that push had to feel good, especially inspiring you to move forward. So,
and when Beat the Block Up came around, it was because like Sean had got married, and then he moved to Atlanta. And once he moved to Atlanta, because prior to him moving to Atlanta, he was making all of the beats that we rapped on. And we would be in there all day long. Like, before he was ever finished with a beat, we already halfway done with verses. So, like, he would make a beat and we instantly write into it. Whoever there writing to it. And then we would have competitions to get on the song. If your verse wasn't good enough, it didn't make it. And we kind of stuck with that. But once he moved to Atlanta, I ain't have nobody making no beats and nothing for me. So, and he gave me one of his keyboards. That's all I had was a keyboard and a computer. Yeah. So I started learning how to use Reason and all that stuff, and was making my own beats. And there was, I don't know what to say about it when I started, but I was trying.
We all go through that. I was recording and I was like, I don't understand why it sounds bad. I can't fix it. I can't.
Right.
But through trial and error, you start to learn. So
humble beginnings.
And his leaving got you to more into production. Let me hit the chat for a minute. Najee said, yeah, word of mouth ain't no joke. Flight School said, shout out to the Midwest. Peoria, Illinois is in the house.
Salute.
Blatantly says, fighting the tape hiss now. The kids want it and have plugins. LOL.
Right. It's the opposite direction completely.
Yes. They want the hiss. They want the static. They want all the stuff to get that
We used to
authentic.
always try. We was fighting for our life to get rid of that stuff, and now they want to add it in.
I'm trying to get it clean like Dre.
Right.
Yeah. And not just Dre. There were other people that had clean sounds. I think Houston had a clean sound. That sound wasn't dirty. It was clean, especially like Ghetto Boys and stuff like that. It was a dope, rough, but clean sound.
I go back and listen to some of those old albums that we had back in the day every now and then, and sometimes I listen to stuff that, and I mean, this is stuff that we love. Like, we gonna say it's forever a classic album, but I go back and listen to it, and like, coming from where I'm at now, I'm like, man, this sound muddy. This sound like it ain't the cleanest sound, but for what it was back then,
Wu-Tang.
Yeah, it was life. But we hearing it now, some of the audio sound bad to me.
Yeah,
but it's still a vibe though.
It is. It is. It definitely is. So okay. So you're starting producing for yourself. You're moving forward. You're learning more. Then
Hmm.
this leads you to starting your label.
Around that time, around that same time, I ended up going to college, and I went to college for audio and video production, and also business management.
Okay.
And then while I was doing that, I wanted to, because I wanted to have a college degree to say you know how to do music, and then I also wanted to business management because I had plans on starting a business, and I went and registered everything and did all my paperwork so that I can make sure that everything was in line. Because I wanted to make sure that everything was completely legit. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of work to get all that stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I try to tell, I'm like, man, it ain't as hard as it sounds, but just actually doing it, especially when you're doing it on your own,
It's a lot.
it's yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. I've done the legwork, especially like when you make songs, filling out the SR forms, registering with pros,
Hmm.
and it's a lot. Um,
Right.
you normally don't brag on yourself, so I'm gonna skip a little bit. I'm gonna skip a little bit. Let's do some
Yeah.
bragging. You know what I mean? Tell the people how many streams you have.
Yeah, I
Come on,
don't
this.
usually brag about that at all because
Yeah.
I don't even like even when I make videos and stuff like that. I don't tell people to go check out my streams or go look for my music. I just don't. I put stuff out there and then just let it do whatever it do.
Yeah.
Um, but if we talking numbers, I mean it ain't a lot. It's kind of a lot, but not really. But
It's
I'm
a,
at about a 500,000 streams
that's a lot to me.
across all of the songs I got.
Yeah.
Um, I got 171 published songs
Okay.
floating around out there in the world. And that ain't necessarily all like my songs, just songs that maybe I produced or some songs I featured on. Some of them are my songs, some of them are like albums that I produced for other people, things like that. But in total, it's about a 500,000. Um, uh, my biggest song is over 200,000.
Yes.
Um, some out there that's like 30, 40,000 numbers like that. Not really massive numbers, but it's decent. The only thing that like and to be honest, if we was counting like all the underground mixtapes, it would probably be even more than that. But you can't really factor that in with just streaming numbers.
Right.
Only thing that I'll be disappointed about is streaming don't pay. When people say streaming don't pay.
It does not. It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not even fair to have. You know, because
The
when you
numbers you
think of
see don't add up to the money at all.
it's like it's not worth it. When you back in the day, like let's look at it from selling mixtapes or selling your albums out of pocket. You
Hmm.
knew how many you sold and you knew how much you got back.
Right.
When there was records, a physical record or a physical CD, you knew how much you were going to get, especially if you were independent, doing it independently. You know,
Hmm.
or
And
when you started calculating that someone sold 1 million records, you knew it was either 30 to 60 million that they made.
yeah, you knew how much money it was for sure.
Yeah. So now you can get 1 billion streams and only be getting $1,200 or $12,000. It's like
Right. And I know because like I said, when we was selling all those CDs and stuff that I was talking about earlier, and when we was printing up all our own stuff, we would literally go to like uh the Radio Shacks, the all the the computer stores and stuff, and we would buy all of the blank CDs on the whole rack at one point. If they had 500 blank CDs, we was buying all of them, and then we would go to Best Buy, buy all of them at Best Buy, the whole rack, and then just press up all our own CDs. But we was selling them like that, so we knew. And then like how we was what we was doing to make sure that everybody got paid, because we would all be like, look, we buying all these CDs, we splitting up however many CDs we buy, and then we would divvy up the CDs. So if we bought 100 CDs and it was 10 of us and everybody went in on it, you know what I'm saying? You get 10, you get 10, you get 10, you get 10. You sell them on your own. When you sell your CDs, that's your money. But you got to come back and put in more when we buy some more CDs. So that guaranteed that each individual person was making their own money. So couldn't nobody say that, oh, you cheated me or you sold this many and I ain't get paid. We was doing it like that just to make sure everybody was squared away. But you had to hustle on your own to get your money. If you didn't go out there and sell nothing because you want to sit on your tail, that ain't my fault. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like I said, we knew how much money each person was going to have once they sold their stuff. And it was, you know, it was going to be what it was supposed to be. With streaming, how many streams you need to have an album? It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, just for one sale, for them to say you got one album sold, the amount of streams you got to have is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Like, but I also want to say, like, in hindsight, though, look at everything you're learning. You're learning business, enterprising, marketing. You're learning sales, the things that you learn, the things that people take for granted. They don't realize that you're basically your independent business, and not only that, successful, because you could go out and do it yourself. You know, the same things that we hear from people from like Master P, and you know, down south, that was the thing. A-Ball and MJG. You know, you would definitely hear, you know, different artists selling it right out the trunk, getting $100,000 out the trunk.
Right.
So it does kind of, I know it's disheartening for me, and I know it's disheartening for a lot of us that we got to find all these other means to kind of make money. And, you know, DJ Jazzy Jeff says sell a T-shirt and put your album in there. You know, it's things like that. So let me just, you know, we talked before. So so it says there's about, you know, maybe about 449,132 streams worldwide.
You got the exact number.
And you produced, or you're featured on a good majority of these songs, like 100% of these songs. Once again, you got 171 registered works. ASCAP or BMI. Can you tell us what made you choose ASCAP over BMI?
I
got
it. The answer for that is stupid. Man, it was just because I was researching, went to the website for BMI first because I knew it was two of them for the US. I went to BMI first, checked them out, and then I went to ASCAP and I saw a picture of Alicia Keys. That was it.
You figure one of the biggest selling artists. Let me go with that.
Yeah, it was. I kind of had a crush though. I was like, yeah, I might.
I was thinking Redman and KRS-One. That's why I chose BMI.
Yeah.
Let me see if we got some more information here. So let's kind of push to the other way a little bit. So you are, and I got to give it to you. If you don't say nothing, I'm going to say something. You're one of the best instructors on the web. You know what I mean? Best instructors
I appreciate
on YouTube
that.
and social media, man. When your pacing, the quality of the video, how you give the information, the time you take into it, I gotta give you your props as one of the best educators on YouTube. What led you into that foray of the transition into teaching and instruction?
I mean, it was really my personal MPC journey. Because like I said, my cousin had the MPC 2000 XL, and he was doing his thing with that. The first MPC I got was the original MPC Live. And just me learning how to use the MPC Live on my own, and then you running into, like, you got questions about how does this work, how does that work, and you asking people, like, they won't answer, they don't respond to you in the comments, or they would say, go read the manual. And the thing was, like, I was reading the manual for the stuff that I was stuck on, but the language in the manual is so weird, it's so hard to understand sometimes. So it take actually seeing somebody doing something or explaining it in a different way for you to get it. So when it came, like once I got enough knowledge and I understood how to use it, you know, because it ain't necessarily the same as like some of the older MPCs. That some of the stuff is similar, but it's a lot of stuff that's different. So
Yes.
when it came to like after a while of me making YouTube videos, this was a little while into it. I maybe had maybe 200 or 300 subscribers, and people start asking you questions like, how do you do this? How do you do that? You know what I'm saying? Respond to my video. And I would answer them in the comments. But once you get like the same question 10, 15, 20 times, I'm like, I don't want to keep typing this over and over and over again. Let me make a video and then try to explain it from the perspective of if it was me and I needed to know this information, what is it that I would want to know about this particular machine or the way that this thing works? And I was basically answering my own questions in a simple language that anybody can understand. Like, I don't like making videos and using like a lot of technical words about certain things, like the data dial on the MPC. I don't like calling it the data dial because of the fact that it's the biggest knob on the MPC. And if you call it the data dial, some people might not know what you're talking about. But if you say the big knob, grab the big knob, turn it 2 clicks to the left, everybody know what the big knob is on the MPC. Right. So I try to simplify stuff and put it in a way that's easy for people to digest. And I think that I got good reviews and stuff because of that kind of language and how I take it.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm a teacher, and the one of my biggest things in being a teacher was when I had people to instruct me in certain things, they never broke it down. You know, so when I became a teacher, I said, you know what, I want to break this down so that people understand it. It's to the point like in education, they teach us how to teach the lower, middle, and higher tier learners. And you know, sometimes you have to come with 3 lesson plans. My higher tier learners get mad at me because I'm going to help the lower learners become mid learners. And I think that's what we got to do sometimes to get everybody the way they want to be. He said, at Jason Perkins, this is your lane, brother. So, if I said something wrong, pause. So, what I like is that it is easily digestible. Sometimes we have to make the content to the point where it's digestible. I watch some people videos and they're moving so fast, but I think that's deliberate to try to make you go back and click again.
Rewatch stuff over and over again, all that stuff.
Yeah. But I've even had a friend, he said, yo, no. He said, I like your pacing. He said, you know, I got to rewind a little bit, but I don't have to sit there and rewind, or it just sounds confusing to the point where I just leave it.
Right.
So that is something that I do, that I really like about your teaching style. I really like, it's like you said, you know what?
I try to take out any unnecessary information too, like, cause like doing the recording process of the video, I might say a couple of things, but then when I'm editing, it's like, do people really need to know this to understand the goal that they're trying to get to? Right. And I think about that a lot from, I don't expect nobody on YouTube to do stuff that I wouldn't do. That's why I don't like, and I told you this the other day, I don't like telling everybody like the YouTube spiel, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification. I don't really say that in none of my videos because I know I wouldn't want to do it for everybody. I'm the type of person that if I get too many notifications, it drives me crazy. So there's no way I'm hitting a bell notification on everybody and 500 people uploading videos in my phone just ding, 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 ding. That would drive me crazy. So I don't expect everybody to hit the bell notification on me, you know? But if I put something out that's that you might need to know or something you might like for entertainment purposes or whatever, come through, kick it, we have a good time.
Definitely.
But I definitely think it's the biggest thing in the educational videos is kind of being specific. Also, and I wanted to make sure I say this too, because like if say I'm making a beat and there's something I want to do in this beat and I can't figure it out at that particular point in time. And I'm like, okay, let me look up something on YouTube to see if I can learn how to do it. And I find a video that's the title is how to do this particular thing that I need to know. I don't want to sit through an hour-long video to figure out what it is I need to know.
Oh my god.
Because I'm trying to get this done right then and there. So I need that information fairly quick. So I try to keep most of those kind of videos down to the 15, 20-minute mark or less if I can. If I can make the video a minute, then I'll make it a minute versus making it a hour, half hour, 45 minutes.
I feel like Dave Chappelle. Wrap it up, B.
You're right.
You be watching videos and like, okay, your introduction is 10 minutes long. Come on, just let's get to it. So,
yeah.
I'm learning that as well. You know, give people the information and then they'll come back as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting back to my questions. Give me 1 second. Gotta spiel back through the questions. All right. So, with that being said, do you think you have a signature sound?
Maybe. I got a style that I probably do the most, and it's kind of rooted in like the hip hop songs that I gravitated to coming up, and like that kind of style kind of stuck to me. So it's like if you see like a lot of my beat making videos, the majority of them are like chill, laid back, easy going, kind of relaxation feeling kind of beats, I think anyway. Now some of them they're just like some bangers and I get, you know, out of my zone, but my zone is like really that laid back chill feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I always like songs that felt like that, where they have a laid back chill beat, but then they just say something crazy on it that just make you like, what? He said what? Like when Ice Cube on a love making beat from the Isleys and did Today Was a Good Day.
Yeah.
Scarface when he did Now I Feel You. MC8 was Straight Up Menace. Or songs like that where the beat is laid back and kind of chill, but the stuff you say on it is like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that.
Yes.
And those are always my favorite kind of hip hop songs. And I like songs like that kept your head bobbing, but they meant something, you know, versus like I'm the type of person that I like songs with meaning or songs that's about something more than just lyrics and flows. Like, I don't know, tic tac, hat, scrap, blackjack, flap. That stuff don't really get me. Some people, like they love that kind of stuff, but I like stuff that like means something. Like Brenda's Got a Baby, you know, Papa Song, stuff like that. Stuff that when you hear it, you don't just hear it and want to dance to it. You feel that in your chest.
Right.
And it was always those songs with those smooth, easy beats, but the stuff that they said was so compelling it grabbed you. So I think that's why the majority of the stuff I make kind of has that same kind of feel.
That introspection, you know.
Yeah.
Storytelling, you know, stuff we don't really hear that much today unless you like go search for it, you know.
Right.
You know, stuff that talks about real life. Like in our day, we got 3 verses. The third verse,
sometimes 4.
Sometimes 4. That third verse or that fourth verse was going to tell you the calamity. New Jack Hustler, Ice-T. That last verse tells you about the end of the life.
Right.
I'm a hustler. What's the song?
When it comes to that, I can't remember. I'm trying to think. It's an Ice Cube song on the top of my head right now. The song you're talking about, the dude was a gangster doing all this gangster stuff, got shot, ended up in a wheelchair, was still on the street doing gangster stuff, and then got on drugs. I cannot remember the name of that song right now, but it's like a complete total story from top to bottom. And you hear that, you can feel whatever this person went through by the time that song is over.
That's why when they had the debate and they couldn't give Ice Cube credit as being one of the best storytellers ever, I'm like, come on,
Man,
let's be for real. This
they don't
guy,
know what they talk.
he had
That's
the
all he
country,
did was tell
he
stories.
had the country in lock. The first three albums, he just told hood tales. You know?
Yeah.
Let me see. I was
They,
just trying
they,
to see what's in the chat. But go ahead.
yeah, that's pretty much all he did. Almost all his early songs was stories about stuff that was happening in real life.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't give him credit for that. So I don't. Ice Cube is one of the tops for me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Anytime
Scarface is also up there for me.
Yeah. Anytime Public Enemy snatch you up and they start producing for you. I was just like, people. I know. I guess people forget. But it's good to kind of experience that. So when people talk and they talk from a perspective like they know, I'm like, you didn't live in that time. You didn't know how it
Right.
was in that time. I'm like, weren't even born when this was
Not
taking
even
place.
thought about.
And they're on social media talking everything up. You're like, come on. I remember somebody talking about Slick Rick wasn't a good rap. I was like, what? I'm like, you didn't. You're like, some of the cadences you have is because of Slick Rick. But
Right.
but hey, it is what it is. Let's. I want to get back into. We talked about your beat tapes. We talked about your gear and the progression of gear. We talked about the instruction and and how you instruct and how you teach. We've also talked about things that you don't brag about the amount of music that you have produced, as well as the amount of streams you have. Can we also talked that you do a little bit of like international work. Like when I talk with Beats Alonze, he had some international work as well. You do kind of the same thing. Can you speak about that?
I think surprisingly, the bulk of like the listeners and stuff I have are international. Probably it's a little over 50%, like close to 60% of the people that listen to the music and stuff I put out is overseas, and that surprised me seeing that when I sat down and looked at it. Um, I only got one television placement, and I didn't do anything to get it. All I did was just it was a song that we made in 2012, and they picked it up in Germany and put it on a commercial in Germany. I don't know what the commercial is. I just know I get a check from it. But and like I said, I didn't do nothing to get it. I didn't go out chasing placement, nothing like that. It just happened. But it's just surprising seeing that the majority of the people that's listening to it and playing it is overseas, more so than the people that's here. It's surprising a little bit, but because of the way I changed my mindset a long time ago, it don't surprise me that much.
I honestly think I'm starting to think that that's the market that a lot of us should go after now, because I think they have a different respect for the music than we have over here. Because
A lot of them overseas embrace hip hop like crazy.
yeah, even when you hear about the artists when they go over, they'll go to like Germany or they go to some place where they don't even speak your language, and it's like they're reciting the whole song,
top to bottom.
Yeah, so it's like try to find that here. Just probably start throwing tomatoes.
Right,
I
right.
want to go to the chat for a moment. A couple questions have popped up. Gary Smith said, "What are your musical influences?" You kind of spoke about it earlier, but let's talk about your musical influences again.
Yeah, musical influences like as far as rap. LL Cool J was big on me. Naughty by Nature. Tupac is still my favorite rapper of all time. And if we're making an all-time list, it's gonna be number one. Period. Ain't no question. You can fight me about it. For real though. Um, Ice Cube, obviously, Scarface. Um, it's a lot to name, a lot.
Yeah.
MC Light, she was my favorite rapper for a long time,
Yeah.
and like Cha 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 is one of my favorite songs from her. Light as a Rock is another one of her songs. Is one of my
Yes.
favorites. You know, Roughneck. I can name her songs. I still know her songs front and back, damn near. So
Cram to understand.
yeah. She was definitely
Yeah.
one of those ones that just stuck to me. Um, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It really is.
I even, I love hip hop so much that I try not to get into, the who's the best and who's that. After like 2015, I stopped answering who's the best producer, who's this. I'm like, it's all subjective. Another question we got. I'm gonna read through some of the comments. Um, Linda Sun said Compton's Most Wanted had some fire.
Yeah,
I
CM
used to
Dub.
love, yeah, I used to love them. Yo, ain't it funny how people? Come on now, everybody know MC8 was the man at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, uh, Linda's Beats by Lonze, what's up, fam? And blatantly, sometimes I get y'all. Oh, he's talking about the notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Smith said 80s. Sometimes you get 5 verses. Yeah, back in the, especially when you had like the posse cuts.
The Sugar Hill Gang was 10 minutes long.
Sheesh. Yeah, them early records. Najee said, for both of y'all, what would be a piece of gear you would want that you don't already have?
Oh, that's easy for me. I got them on my wish list. I just ain't got them yet. It's actually 2, and I those are like, I don't know, unless something come around the corner to get my eyes open. Those are the only 2 things I'm looking at. It's a dangerous compressor and a Neve Portico 2. I need both of those in my life right now. I just, they on the radar.
I think for me, I would probably want like the either the 8 pre, or I know Warm Audio has some, because I want to be able to mic up my drums. But I think I
Mm-hmm.
want to have more recording outboard gear, like so I can like record vocals and stuff like that. Everything goes straight into my audio interface into the computer, and I want something with like tube compressors or something like that where you can get a warmer sound going in the
Right.
box.
Yeah, like I like keyboards and drum machines and stuff like that, but it'll have to be something crazy for me to feel like it's better than what I got.
Yeah,
And it is hard to peel my fingers off of MPC. I extremely difficult.
I agree. I definitely agree. Let's see. Let's go down. Linda Sun said Scarface, Ice T, and Slick Rick are my favorite storytellers.
Mm.
Says Ghetto, what are your top 5 of all time? You just mentioned that. And Gary Smith said on the low, Japan still buys CDs. Yo, and like, I'm sorry, Asian rappers are on the come up. If you've been watching,
I done seen something that's pretty dope.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
I don't know what they saying, but it sounded good.
Let's talk about your collaborations. Okay. Can you share some stories about memorable collaborations, like working with artists on tracks such as Far From Over?
Ooh, that song. That was actually Far From Over. That was a extremely tough song to record. It's on an album that's called R.I.P. Young Smiley. And just to give some background info, Young Smiley was one of the artists that I used to record when I first started the record label, Beat the Block Up. He was one of the first ones that I would record, and he was probably one of the main driving forces out of everybody that was coming through. He would literally come over my house every day, crack of dawn, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, wake me up. You made another beat last night. I got a verse. I got a hook. I'm ready to record every day like clockwork. Um, and one day, some tragic events happened, and he didn't make it. And that we all went up to the hospital, and we was at the hospital for a while. You know, when we left the hospital, I get back to the crib, and I recorded the hook for that song. And then and everybody decided they was gonna come over, you know, to the studio because that was like basically the hangout spot where everybody was hanging out. And they heard the hook because I had already had it recorded and it was just playing. I was just sitting there just listening to it, just kind of like in a daze. And as people came, they started just writing verses for it. I actually got a picture of a bunch of people in the studio writing verses for that song. Um, and the more people that wanted to get on it, I just kept making it longer and longer and longer so any and everybody that wanted to be on it can get on it. And that's kind of the story of how that song came about. And that album was called R.I.P. Young Smiley. It initially wasn't. Um, it was just like some of the mixtape songs we put together, and it had a bunch of songs. We had a bunch of songs recorded that had him on it. But after that happened, everybody collectively decided like we were just gonna take all of those songs that had him on it and take the best of those songs and put it on one album. And that's pretty much what we did. And then at the funeral, we gave away 500 of them for free at the funeral for anybody that wanted it.
Wow.
And that was the longest funeral procession I ever seen in my life. Like from where I was at, I couldn't see the front car. It was so far down the road, and almost every car was playing the CD.
Wow.
For months after that.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good, man. That was touching. That was touching. It's good to see that people can come together and do something for.
Yeah, that was a tough moment for everybody. It really was.
Yeah. And so shifting gears just a little bit, I want to talk about social media. You know, there's a lot of things that we're trying to do. You're pretty successful. You have over 11,000 subscribers, which is very big, very big. You know, we have had some conversations offline.
Right.
What do you think are some challenges, and what do you do to try to maintain a strong online presence?
I try to be any and everywhere. Like any kind of social media platform that comes up, I try to get on it. Just to, if not to do anything, like some of them I'm not even active on it. I just signed up so I can have my name on there and can't nobody else have it. I'm greedy. You can't be me. So anytime like a new platform or something come up, I always, if anything, just go sign up and take my name so can't nobody else have it. And then I try to stay active on some of the platforms, but some of them, like I look at different social media platforms as tools for different things. Like a lot of the tutorials and stuff like music stuff that I do on YouTube is like mainly on YouTube. I don't necessarily do like music and tutorial type videos on Instagram, for example. Instagram is just I just put like random stuff on there. And then I put different stuff on Facebook, different stuff on TikTok. They all got pretty much different content. And I don't usually try to intermix those. I just let them be their own entity. Whenever whatever I'm doing on one, I'm not usually doing on some of the other ones. And I see a lot of people, they do the same thing or they put the same video on every page, which is cool, but I don't usually do that too often.
Right. I know Gary Vee was talking about going on every platform, but being original according to that platform. And like you don't want
Right.
someone to go like if you went to Instagram, you don't want them to go on to TikTok to see the same exact thing. I know I at a fault. I do that sometimes. I just want to caveat back to the chat for a minute because you're getting some the guys Sim City, Big World Media, you know, like prayers and praying hands.
Yeah.
Same for Beats by Lonze, blatantly as well. Said R.I.P.
I appreciate it. I do
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. So I know it's a lot. Sometimes bringing thoughts up, you know. Linda Sun said at Day Sun and at Ghetto Styles, just want to say as a beat maker in my 50s, intimidated by the computer software I ask Ghetto Styles thousands of questions, and he's always
Yeah.
helpful. Blessings, bro. Salute. I do have to say that as well, especially we just even though like we would talk like we finally got
Right.
on the phone and you just a given person because you share a lot of information. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he says,
Yep.
Brother Son says, stand up guy, much respect. Um, you need my mic turned up like that? That's better. Um, so we just want to give you props for that, just to being a genuine, all around person and someone that wants to
Yeah, I
help people.
appreciate it. And I always try to help out people because like I said, I know what it feels like when you asking people questions and you can't really get the answers. And I know how frustrated you can be behind that. You know what I'm saying? So, um, helping other people out is is natural for me because
Yeah,
I didn't like that feeling. So I know how it is when somebody else is asking questions and they can't really get the answers.
that
And I don't mind doing it.
RTMF. I could not stand RTMF. That make me so mad. Read the
Yep.
manual. Read the man. I know I did a video about it, but I was just trying to alert people that there's a manual out there when everybody's giving false information. There's a manual. I wasn't
Right.
trying to say no. I
That's
believe
I,
it.
I hate that too. I don't like I try to stay as far away from, on purpose. I don't like giving out false information at all. And when I see people giving away false information, that kind of irks my nerves too. And sometimes it make me want to just go make a video right then and there. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't like. I'm not about to go make videos calling people out or talking
Right.
about people or nothing that. But I do go out and try to correct some of the because there are people on YouTube with super huge platforms that every now and then some of the stuff they say is incorrect, and a lot of people believe it because they got that huge following. So
Mm-hmm.
I do try to at least put out the correct information from time to time to make sure people really get the information that they need.
Right. No, but that's good. That's one of the things that we really respect about you as well. Can you tell us if you have any upcoming projects or things that you're working on? Because you still produce. You were just talking about having people come over and make music and things of that
Yeah.
nature.
I still produce songs, record songs with people and stuff all the time actually. Um and like it's some stuff that's finished too that just ain't been put out yet. That's out of my control whenever they decide they're ready to do it. Um so I can't really give a specific time frame on some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have some things, some videos coming up eventually that I think are going to be pretty good. Can't really
Mm-hmm.
say a lot about it right now. We'll see when the time comes. But
Okay.
I'm optimistic for the future. You know, I'm
Yeah.
little over 11,000, kind of growing.
Yeah.
You know, as expected. Um, and I'm just looking forward to what's next, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest thing. I try not to stay complacent.
Right. What's a hidden talent that you have that people wouldn't know?
That's a good question. A hidden talent that people wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Hmm. I'm kind of a mechanical kind of person, and it don't take like a lot of instructions for me to figure stuff out. Like, um, I built a car before, kinda. Um, yeah. It took about I don't know, maybe 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I bought a car for $200. The body was perfect. It was an Oldsmobile Delta 88, and I was in love with them cars, the big body ones.
Mm-hmm.
The body on it was clean, no scratches, clean paint, perfect. Didn't run. Transmission and the motor was shot. Then I bought another one, and it had a good motor in it. And then I bought another one that had a good transmission, and spent 6 months taking all three of those cars apart and swapping out all the parts until I had a car that ran perfectly, perfect condition. Put some
Yeah.
20-inch rims on it. Um, did my thing with it. I got to drive that car around for 7 days, and a drunk driver hit me in the back and totaled it.
Oh man, come on.
And
All
because
that.
the car was a 1984, the insurance company gave me $600.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh man, oh man. Um, I know y'all want to get into those questions, but those are not questions we can really. They asking about the new NPC, if you plan on getting the new NPC, or you know, we kind of want to stay
I
away from
mean,
that.
I kind of said it like if a new NPC come out, I feel like it got to be way better than what I got now for me to really want it.
Right.
If I was to get it and it was just like slightly better, it would just be for like YouTube purposes or something like that.
Yeah.
But it would have to be crazy for me to get super excited and jump on it day one, though.
Yeah. I know. Oh, he said you just post that. I didn't know. So, Lenderson said he had a Delta 88. Windows didn't work and had to open the door. Red light.
I know that feeling right there.
Oh my
I know
goodness.
that feeling.
My father.
I had the 4-door when there was the 4-door and the 2-door. The one I had was 4-door and it was M&M blue. It was pretty.
Yeah. My father had a Lincoln like that, and the heat would blow under the other. It's summertime. This is South Carolina, so it's already 103. That made it like 120. It was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I still got a blue Monte Carlo though, but I got that put up. I don't pull that out. It still got the same rims and everything on it.
Sorry about that blatantly. I wasn't sure. My bad. My last question. I want to ask this question right here. And this question is, well, I won't say my last, second to last. How do you want to be remembered for what you do?
I don't know. I mean, just hopefully I'll be remembered for whatever small impact I put on the world. Helping people out, maybe making some people smile, things like that. I don't really care about like the music legacy so much. Whether like it get a lot of players and stuff like that. Like I said, I just put it out and just let it fly and do what it do. So it ain't really that. It's more so just about people remembering how it was that I made them feel. You know what I'm saying? If I left a good mark on your soul, then I'm cool. I'm happy with that.
Right.
Because as far as like in the bigger picture of the world, when it comes to like music and stuff like that, I ain't did nothing. Most people would say that, but on a local scale, like if you talk to people around here, they would say that the stuff that we did was legendary. So, and I already know, like that's solidified, and you can't take that away. You know what I'm saying? So, at this point, I don't really have nothing to complain about.
So I'm gonna say something that I've been like keeping to myself. You know, like sometimes this stuff is not fulfilling. I gotta be honest. Not like what we like. This is fulfilling. Like this engagement relationship right here. This is fulfilling right here. We sit here, we do these videos, we have these expectations, and it seems like every time you try to move further, there's a new hurdle to jump over when you try to get to the next level. It's like sometimes we got to realize what's important to me. God is important. You know, my family is important. You know what I mean? They take the highest priority. You know, friendships and relationships are the things that are really important because this stuff here is fly by night. People can see.
I feel like with the YouTube stuff, like I said, I don't think I did nothing special. I just lucked up a lot of it, and like I told the story before, I didn't even get on YouTube because I wanted to be like a big YouTuber or a big producer on YouTube. It was for my sanity, you know, and like that stuff helped whenever I get in those kind of moods and me recording videos, editing music and stuff like that, keep my mind off of that other stuff. So I never really looked at it as like, I need to put out a video every week. I need to have X amount of subscribers and stuff like that. Now, have I ever got frustrated behind looking at some of the numbers? Yeah. Like, I think everybody has at some point. Like, you might think that you should have more subscribers than this person because you might have way more views than them or something, but it just don't work like that sometimes. I know when it comes to, I've had people ask me this all the time, like, they're frustrated because they can't get people to follow their music or subscribe to them or whatever. And the people they advertising to is like friends, family, aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, whatever. And I didn't got into the page because I stopped counting on that a long time ago. So I tell people, like, stop advertising to your friends and your family. They love you. Yeah. They do. But when it comes to them following your music or following after your goals, they don't give a, I'm not going to cuss, but they don't care. Right. You know what I'm saying? Oh, rats. They got other stuff on their mind. They doing their own thing. They want you to succeed. Right. They hope you succeed, but they not going to come look at your videos or listen to your music. Right. So if you continuously advertising to them, you advertising to the wrong people. Wrong people. Yeah. Focus on the rest of the world. Like, it came to a point where, like, when we was doing music, like, everybody's talking about, you want to be the best in the city. You want to be the best in the city or whatever. I'm like, nah, man, forget the city. We ain't even worried about y'all no more. We putting our music for the world. The city will come later. Right. Just same thing with your family and friends and stuff like that. While you small, while you grinding it out, they care, they love you, but they not gonna follow you like that. Once you get super big and you a mega star, then they gonna say, I knew him when he was this tall. Yeah. You know? And that's when you're gonna get their recognition. So, but don't worry about that when you just starting out, you grinding it, you trying to make it. Those are the last people you need to think about, to be honest.
I like what SimCity said. He said, where is it at? He said, building a YouTube community like a family. He said,
there are people that comment on my YouTube channel that I remember who commented from day one, you know, and they still come around. So those are the people that you kind of remember the most on this journey, because, you know, like, you see certain names, you're like, man, I remember when I only had 200 subscribers and this dude said you was going to be big. You know, so that kind of stuff really does leave an impact on you.
Yeah, it does resonate. I just, for me, I think the way I look at it, I know my purpose. You know what I mean? Right. I know what I've been purposed to do. I no longer expect, and I think it's bad to have an expectation for certain people to follow you. One apostle said to me, he said, as the visionary, he said, you have to carry the vision. He said, no one can see the vision. And I know they tell us to, you know, write the vision, make it plain. He said, but if you are the vision bearer, no one can see the vision but you. So you have to carry it through and make it work and make it, you know, become material and make it become something that people can see. So you can't, you know, like, if you're focused and got tunnel vision, you can't see all the other stuff around you. So I just want to encourage anybody out there that's trying to do this, and, you know, everything may not be going the way you want.
You're going to see it way before everybody else do. By the time they see it, you're going to already be on your way. Right. That's real talk. Real talk.
And that's with anything you're trying to build. You know, I don't hate to get spiritual. This is what
I still got, like, family that comes to me right now. You still doing music? Yeah, I still mess around a little bit. That's all I say to them. Now, if they find what I'm doing on their own and be like, oh my God, I didn't know you was doing all that. Right. You know? But I'm not actively going out to tell, like, all of my friends and family. Like, I don't tell them nothing, to be honest. Right. I just, you know, if they find out around the way, some kind of way.
Yep. It's like a mission. Any last words that you want to leave with everyone? Because if you don't stop me now, I'll start preaching. But I was about to talk about Nehemiah not coming down from the wall and Go ahead.
Like my main message would be like for anybody that's interested in trying to pursue this kind of thing. You're trying to do music, you're trying to do YouTube, you're trying to do whatever it is that you want to do. The best thing that you can do is start today. Don't wait. Don't say I need equipment. Don't say I need this and that. Just start doing it. You know, and go from there and build as you go.
Yeah.
When I started recording my YouTube videos, it was like an iPhone 6. That was my camera and my audio outside of the music and stuff. So whatever you got, that's what you start with, and you go from there and grind it out. And all you're going to do is get better over time. That's the best thing that I can tell any and everybody. Don't waste time, start now. And don't let nobody tell you too old or something to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't even hear that, period. Go for it. If it's something you want to do, do it. Ain't nothing stopping you but you.
You see how many YouTubers are coming on? Like, because I'll go on and I'll watch. It's so many, like, late 30s, 40s, 50s. I mean, even older. They're starting their YouTube channels, and they're blowing up. And they're you know, it's a lot of growth that's really taking place. You know, and
that's where the wisdom at. That's where the wisdom is. So we need that. You know what I'm saying? It's something that people can see and understand and get good information. Because a lot of the young folks is just out here wilding out. So they need, you know, something real and tangible that they can hear that makes sense.
Right. Because I tell you, I love everybody that's on. I love going to watch y'all videos. There is something wrong with the notifications because I don't, you know, me personally, if I subscribe to you, I hit all so that I can get all your notifications, and I don't.
Not
do
me.
Anything.
Don't look at me to do that. No, buddy. I'm gonna subscribe to you, and when I see your videos, I'm gonna check you out.
But I'm not getting the notifications. I'll be honest. So when I'm scrolling through and looking, you know, I check your stuff out because I wanted to I want to make sure that I see your stuff. But I want to thank you for coming on and telling people about your life. I want to thank you coming on and inspiring people. I want to thank you for telling about what you do, your experiences, and motivating the listeners as well. And I really appreciate that. And thank you so much because it means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to these viewers as well. Everybody,
yeah, this is a real good conversation.
Yeah. Make sure y'all check out GhettoStyles on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever he's out there. Go check out his Spotify, everywhere his music is. I'll have links in the description so that y'all can go check him out. Once again, GhettoStyles.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is real fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This was fun. Now we got to figure out who's winning the games. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Salute.
Everybody take it easy.